Mr. Ambassador, good evening. Thank you for this interview and welcome.
Thank you very much, Kalisperasas.
I would like to start by asking you to clarify on what was agreed between Israel and the US in terms of pausing the military operations in northern and central Gaza. How will this agreement work on the field?
Well, Israel made a decision to allow what we call humanitarian pauses. Humanitarian pauses, it's not a ceasefire. It's a locally limited time in which we would enable either humanitarian aid coming in or safe humanitarian corridors to allow people from the northern part of the Gaza Strip to go safely into the southern part of the Gaza Strip. But we are not going to have any kind of a ceasefire. A ceasefire is clearly a victory for Hamas. We will not allow this. We are sensitive to the humanitarian needs of the civilian population, and we are trying to do whatever we can to facilitate what is needed in this regard, but we are focused very much on achieving the military goals that we set, and this is to eradicate the military and the governmental capabilities of Hamas.
Only yesterday, 80,000 people fled northern Gaza. It is said that 50,000 fled on Wednesday, yesterday 80,000. This will dramatically increase the numbers of civilians that will need humanitarian help. You said you're willing to help to that direction. How?
As I said before, we are a law-abiding country and we follow international law. International law requires us to allow certain needs, humanitarian needs, to be given to the population. We are not obliged to supply it ourselves, and this is exactly what we are doing. We are allowing assistance to go from Egypt into the southern part of the Gaza Strip. It's food, it's water, it's medicine, and we are talking now roughly in the neighborhood of about 100 trucks every day going inside. And as I said before, we are monitoring the situation on the ground, and we will be able to adjust it according to the situation that we see. There is food, there is water, there is medicine in Gaza. It's not that the situation in Gaza is wonderful, not at all, but the basic needs are being given and provided to the people.
So Israel claims that no ceasefire will be agreed upon until the release of the hostages held by Hamas. First, I'd like to ask you if you can share with us any information on the situation of the hostages, especially after the trilateral talks with Qatar and Israel and the US.
I wish I could. I wish I had any information to provide about the situation of the hostages or the negotiation. I cannot, because this war crime that is being committed by Hamas and continue to be committed every day, because Hamas, this terrorist organization, would not allow any information about the situation, any information about are they being treated or not, do they get food and medicine. We know nothing. They don't let the Red Cross see them. This is horrible. I want just to show you, just to remind the people what we are talking about. Here's just one example. This is Ariel. Ariel is 4 years old. What does a 4-year-old boy doing in Gaza? How did he get there? Or his brother, Kfir. Kfir is 9 months old. Why is he there? Why is Hamas even keeping him? How can this be? I expect in this regard, my expectation is very clear. This is an issue that the entire international community should be unified about, calling for the immediate and unconditional release of all those hostages. This is a horrible war crime committed all this time. It's been a month since they are in the hands of Hamas. Unfortunately, I have no information.
What about their families? Do they get the support they need from the State of Israel?
In general, the answer is yes, even though it's not an easy task at all. We have established a headquarters, a unit that is trying to take care of all the needs of those families, but this is a very difficult situation. There are needs that are material, there are needs that are emotional. They need a lot, but what they really need is to be able to, first of all, have information about the situation of the family members. In some cases, we're talking about entire families that are in captivity, and they want to see them again and hug them.
So Israel's stated mission is to destroy Hamas, destroy its military and governance capabilities. I would like to ask you what that means in terms of time and means for the achievement of that goal.
You correctly described the goal. The goal here is to eliminate Hamas as an apparatus, Hamas as a mechanism, Hamas as a regime. We are not aiming at trying to destroy Hamas as a movement or as an ideology, even though I wish this could have been done. But our aim is clear. We cannot allow this monstrosity to continue ruling Gaza. This cannot be anymore the situation. For this, we need to be able to destroy their leadership, to destroy their infrastructure, and to make sure that we can leave Gaza, because we don't want to stay in Gaza. We left Gaza in 2005, not in order to come back once again, to leave Gaza and knowing that they are not going to continue controlling Gaza themselves. Time-wise, I cannot answer this question. As long as it takes to achieve this goal, because this is a mission which I think that everybody that cares about the future of our region, that cares about peace to be achieved, knows that Hamas is the enemy of peace. Hamas is the enemy of the future. Hamas is not just the enemy of Israel, he is the enemy of the Palestinians themselves. You can ask the Palestinian Authority what do they think about Hamas, and you will get the answer. They see Hamas as an enemy as well. Hamas is bad for everybody that wants to have anything good happen in this region.
Whether intended or not, the reality is that there are civilians who pay the consequences of this war. The United Nations Secretary General yesterday only mentioned that the situation in Gaza is a never-ending humanitarian nightmare for civilians. Someone would fear that Israel would face the whole of international community to that aspect. What is your response?
First of all, I regret the death of civilians. I regret the death of Palestinian civilians. I wish it wouldn't have happened. I would really much rather have a war being fought against an enemy that fights like an army that is willing to face the Israeli army and fight and not hide behind women, not hide behind children, not hide under hospitals, not hide inside schools. This is the way you should conduct a war. But the enemy, which is Hamas, is choosing on purpose to do this from within the population. They are choosing to do so because they know that we have our limitations, because we abide by international law. Therefore, we are making some very difficult decisions and dilemmas, and in many cases we have to take back and hold back from attacking because we think that there will be too many civilian casualties. But I need to say this as well. First of all, every civilian that is dying in Gaza today, it's a responsibility of Hamas. Hamas can stop the fighting tomorrow. It needs to lay down its arms, surrender, and no civilian has to die. It's only up to them. You know what happens to us if we lay down our arms? They will slaughter us. They showed this to us already on October 7th. But if they lay down their arms, we will not slaughter them. They will be brought to justice, they will be brought to a court, and they will spend their life in the Israeli prison. So it's very easy to stop suffering in Gaza if Hamas decides to take responsibility for its own population.
I'd like to add to this the question I have for Iran and its role in this situation. Today, Iran-backed rebels Houthi from Yemen claimed responsibility for an attack against Israel, a school in Israel, in a town in Israel. Iran also warned today that the scale of effects on civilians would inevitably lead to an expansion of the conflict. What is your reaction?
First of all, Iran is the main cause behind everything that we see now in the region. The Iranians are sitting in Tehran and they're using all of the proxies in this region. Of course, Hamas and its Palestinian Islamic Jihad in Gaza, which we have an active war against, but Hezbollah, which is another Iranian proxy, is attacking us on a daily basis, firing rockets, firing anti-tank missiles, infiltrating into Israel every day since October 8th. We have the Houthis from Yemen, who are firing either surface-to-surface missiles or cruise missiles or drones into Israel. We have American soldiers being wounded in Iraq and Syria, being under attack of Iranian-backed Shiite militias. Everything is Iran's doing. And the fact that the international community is not making a strong enough voice calling on Iran to say, stop what you're doing, putting enough pressure on Iran, is unfortunate. There should be much more finger-pointing towards Iran. Yesterday, and you said very clearly yourself, we had a school in Israel, with children inside that was attacked by a drone. As much as we know and we were able to find out, this drone was sent from Syria and not from Yemen, from another militia that is backed by the Iranians. And it hit the school. Fortunately, there were few children, there were like 40 children in the school, and none of them was seriously hurt. But this is very dangerous, and Iran is playing a very dangerous game. And I don't understand why they are threatening us with the war. We have no intention of expanding the war. We want to focus on Gaza. And if all the others stop firing, we will not be firing back at them.
Thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you.